Okay, so, um, basically, Phil has adopted another child. Name is Flick. They go by they, them, and he, him pronouns. And Flick is dating this guy called Snap, and they're like, a cute couple, yada yada. And the thing is that Phil wanted to be like, I want to bond with my kid and, get to know their, romantic partner. So, nope. It's like, okay, I need to go and build something I'm getting paid to do, so how about you guys come along with me? We'll turn it into like kind of camping trip. We'll just be out there for maybe a week while I build. And they're like, yeah, sure. So they go there, set up tents, and then like Flick's like, I'm gonna go and visit my friend. They go off, and Phil's like, all right, just be back before dark. And they come back and they're like, something's wrong. And they go up to like where their friend's house was, and it's infested with wither roses and wither skeletons. The thing was, the day before this, Flick had gone to this woman called Mel, who's like an expert on flowers and their meanings and stuff, and Mel warned him that, hey, be careful, these roses are a sign of like something bad's going to happen, like it's a sign of misery, pain, all that shit. And they started popping up around Phil's house, and like Flick has a curse, like their family just fucking yeets a lot. So that means that Phil is in severe danger, but Flick was like, well, obviously you can't kick in immediately, because Phil's only been my dad for like a week. Well, guess what? While they were up there, the Flick's like, friend's house, their name's Keck. Their house was infested with wither roses and wither skeletons, and they slayed them and went to visit Keck's grave and was like, why are there so many wither roses? And Phil saw how like Flick was grieving, and he got emotional, like he was all teary-eyed and stuff. And the thing is, he misstepped, he fell into a wither rose, and he got a thorn stuck in his hand. He was like, ow. And Flick was like, are you okay? And Phil's like, yeah, I'm fine, don't worry about it. Just hurt. Managed to get down off the mountain. It was a steep fucking mountain. And Phil's like, he'll probably fall out on its own. I don't really want to touch it. It hurts too much right now. I'll probably grab it down tomorrow. I'll just go to bed. Goes to bed, wakes up in the morning. His skin's grown over it. Thing is that now he's got like black vines on him that look like they belong to a wither rose. And he's like, that's not good. So, like, I can't really summarize what happened day after day, but I can give you, like, the feel gets worse. He's like, I like to call it his decomposition, because that's kind of what he was decomposing, pretty much. Decomposing as, like, wither roses began to grow on him, and if you hugged him, you'd get the wither effect. And, yeah, not fun. And, eventually, Flick saw how bad Phil was getting, and was like, I need to get Wilbur. And the thing is that day before this whole trip, Phil and Will had a big fight where, like, Phil, like, pretty much got disowned by his own son, and just, I told you about this, but yeah, it was a big fight, and Flick was like, they're the only people I know how to get, so they went and they got Nikki and Will, and Will, like, originally just didn't take it seriously. He was like, oh no, my dad's sick. Well, anyways, I'm gonna just stay here, make sure he's okay with Nikki for a bit. And they stayed for... What the fuck? And basically, they stayed for a few days before they went off to adventure, because they didn't think anything was really wrong. They're like, oh, he's just a little sick, he'll get better soon. He did not. He was actually getting worse and worse. Eventually, he was, like, really bad, to the point where, like, a lot of wither roses were coming out, a lot of vines, all that. And Flick saw this and saw how his wings, like, the stubs of his wings were starting to rot, and if those rotted, his wings would fall off. Which is not a good thing. And she was like, this isn't good. I need Will again. So they went and they grabbed Will and Nikki, and now Will finally saw the severity of the situation. I was like, are you okay? And Phil was like, no, not really. And Flick was getting overwhelmed, so Nikki took Flick away to just calm him down and have him, like, just get his mind off this situation. And Wilbur apologized for the argument they had and just said that he just wanted attention. Like, he just wanted to feel like he wasn't being replaced anymore. Phil also apologized and said, hey, it's okay. I'm working on getting better, and I'm working on treating my kids equally. I would love the chance to be your dad again. And Will said, no matter how much I hate you, you're still my dad, and I love you. You're still his dad. And Will just broke down in tears and just hugged him and just begged him, like, please don't die, please, I don't want to lose you, I need you, please. And all Phil could do is just hug back and say, I'm Phil's in Minecraft, I don't go down that easily, you know? Yes, he does. And he just held him, they just held each other for, like, the entire night, and Phil just let Wilbur cry into his shirt. And the thing is that Phil eventually told him, hey, you should probably stop. I got wither roses growing out of me. You'll probably get the effect. And then Wilbur dropped a bombshell saying, it's okay, I got frucked by one too. What the fuck? Sorry, this is so much lore because I'm really passionate about this. Yeah, he's like, please just be sure to get better. And Phil, he's like, I'll do my best, I guess. And yeah, Phil got worse. Literally the day after his, like, this was, like, the worst stage, honestly, because after that he got a little better, just because his brain wanted to, like, be violent. But this was his worst day. Like, his speech degraded to the point where all he could really say was, like, really short sentences, and you would hear him just saying decay as he planted wither roses everywhere. So it was fucking terrifying. Because he was able to just leave his tent whenever he wanted. So you'd come back to, like, check on him, and you just see him, like, slowly planting the flowers, like, struggling to move. There's blood coming out of his eyes. He's, like, just going, like,
Hey, love you.
Love you too.
We're leaving.
All right.
Your cat, please.
I will. See ya.
They can wear my chucks.
Parrots. Yeah, he was just wandering around just saying something, decay, I feel them in my lungs, it hurts, decay. That's all you would hear from him. And this fucking cat. And Flick saw them in that state because Phil just slowly turned around and just looked at him. And Flick was like, now, Wilbur. And yeah, I grabbed Wilbur and Nikki, and the second Will saw Phil, and oh my god, this dog saw Phil in his current state, he turned away and he puked. He threw up blood everywhere. And Nikki was like, Will, are you okay? And Will is not okay. He's puking up blood on the floor, Nikki. And Will has to reveal to Nikki that he's also been, like, infected with this stuff. And thing is his like vines are red and not like that dark purple. And Snap is like, you know what, that's it, I need to do something. So he goes and he gets Technoblade. Yeah. He literally has to travel so far to find this guy, and he's like, you need to come back. And Techno's like, why should I go with you? I don't know you. How old are you? And Snap's like, look, I know you don't know me, you don't gotta know me, but your friend, your best friend, Phil, he's not doing too hot. So he convinced Technoblade to come with him just because he brought up Phil, even though he doesn't know these kids. He's like, I should kill you, you know, I should be, like, butchering you, you know, wow. But I'm not. And then he sees Phil, and, you know, everyone was like, oh, he's going to get emotion or something, but no, he goes straight to thinking rationally because Technoblade. Yes, there's still more. There's still more. Technoblade is like, okay, this is good. Here. He gave him a bunch of healing and strength potions and a bunch of golden apples and all that. And he's like, you need to get better, Phil. This isn't you. You're not like this. He just knew. He was obviously scared for his friend. He just doesn't show it. But he was just concerned in helping him get better. And he set up camp. I love him so much. He set up camp right, like, not too close, but he set up his camp, like, right behind Phil's, and, like, in case he had to go and, like, help him or anything. Yeah, and then after that, like, Phil was just getting worse. Like, he couldn't see very well anymore, and he just kept planting wither roses. Everyone was trying to break them. Nikki was replacing them with, like, normal flowers, trying to help. And like, eventually Phil, like, managed to get out of his tent again, and he was, like, starting to make his way home. And Techno was like, no, you can't, I'm sorry, Phil, you gotta stay here. So he managed to, like, lead him back to his tent, and they had to lock him in. They had to build a fence around him and keep him inside. And they're like, you can't leave. We're sorry, not until you get better. Poor boy. So he continues to rot, yada yada. And now he's, like, getting violent, and Techno's, like, miserable at this point. He's like, his best friend is, like, that's not his friend anymore. It's, like, some sort of monstrosity. And they're like, we gotta find some sort of cure because the medication that Will gave isn't helping. We need to, like, what do we do? So they tried planting other flowers to, like, show him, like, hey, do you remember these people? Do you remember anything at all? He doesn't remember Wilbur or Tommy. He doesn't. So when, like Techno showed him the two, like, their favorite discs, and he's just like, I don't know who these people are. These are just discs. You're Tommy? I don't know what is that? And Techno was like, I get wanting to forget them. They're annoying ass kids, but, like, this isn't good. He only remembered Flick. And the only thing that they managed to do was remind him of Schlatt with using roses, because Schlatt gave him some roses once and made him really happy because he likes collecting them. And that was, like, you could just hear how Techno immediately lighted up when Phil remembered something, because he showed him so many flowers, and it's like, you remember something, thank God. Okay, let's make a rose garden. And Techno made a rose garden for him. Their friendship is so fucking nice in this. And now here's the conclusion. Wilbur fucking, we don't know what he did. We don't know if he died or something, but he went up to heaven. He went and he spoke to literal God. Like, he went up to Dream XD and was like, yo, my dad's dying. I need help. Please save him. And Dream XD was like, how the fuck did you get here? I'll help you, though. So he literally brings God back to Earth. And is like, okay, look, I'm here to save your dad. He don't look too good. And Techno's like, what the fuck are you? What are you? You beast. Scary man. Where was I? Stop eating my windowsill. And he took Phil into his tent and was like, yo, take this. This is the only cure for your stuff. There's 3 outcomes. 1, it doesn't help you and will have to kill you before you, like, can spread this further. 2, it heals you fully, you go back to normal. 3, you get healed partially and pretty much become a superhero. Like, you'll look normal-ish, but whenever you get angry, you'll turn back to, like, your fully decomposed stuff, and you'll be able to poison people, and it'll be kind of cool. And Phil's just like, I really hope I don't heal fully then. And he didn't. He also managed to escape. And he literally ender-pearled out of there and just started running. And everyone chased after him, and Techno was, like, the first one to see, because he heard the whoop of the ender pearl being thrown. He was like, oh, Phil. And everyone just started bucking it after him. And Phil was like, I'm going home, I'm going home, I'm done, I'm going home. And you could just see Techno running and Flick fucking flying, like, Dad, stop! And Techno's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Slow down. And Phil managed to get home safely, and he's now, like, partially healed. So he's a superhero now. And now Techno, since he's okay, Techno's, like, just checked on him a few times, just make sure he's good. And he's like, you ever need me, man, just come and see me. I'll always be there. And feels like sick. So now he's doing better, and now we're going to do a whole bunch of lore with Carl whenever we can. But now I may not be able to, because now my throat's getting sore because I just explained, like, 5 or 6 hours worth of lore. Yeah.